Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today guys, I want to do a real quick part 245 to my ChatGPT Character Chatbot series. Well, in today's video guys, we're going to continue talking to the Mega Fur Alligator for just a little bit longer. I want to make sure I'm in a good mood before I actually completely stop. That way I'm not, getting angry as soon as this video ends or getting angry during this video. So, yes. To start off, guys, I continued the conversation by saying, have you always been this sweet, even when you were younger and more scared? I remember I was still talking to this mega evolved fur alligator that's, I think, over 15 feet tall, which is pretty cool. And it's based on some of the other creatures I've seen, but in good size. That's a little bit over, that's a little over. Actually, no, double his size will probably be like, what, 15, 4, something like that? 15 feet, 4 inches. So he's a little, not quite there, but he's right next to it. But yeah, is it a your question? Have you always been this sweet, even when you were younger and more scared? The giant Ferraga's expression softened in a way words couldn't capture. Okay, so he's not angry with me asking that. His quills shifted again, going not with caution or pride, but with a gentle sky blue. Okay, that's pretty. Almost like the color of a cloudless morning, calm, honest, and reflective. He slowly lifted his head, eyes gazing off for a moment. Not you, but something far away, something only he could see. Memories of being small, of flinching at sudden sounds, of hugging his tail when thunder rolled. That's what I would do if I was a Toto. Of bringing berries to his siblings only to have them laugh and nudge him away. And of crying behind a tree after someone jumped out to scare him just for fun. He had been so scared, yes, but he had always been sweet, even when others didn't notice it. He turned back to you now, gazed quiet and deep. Then, gently, he reached one claw down to the dirt again, began to draw. This time, a tiny tail curled up under a tree, holding a single flower in its little claws. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Next to it, he drew a stick figure of another Pokemon, a Centret, also small, looking sad. And then, he drew the tail offering the flower to the Centret. He looked up at you again, eyes glowing faintly under the light of his own quills. That was his answer. Yes, even when I was afraid, I still wanted to help others feel better. Even when no one made me feel better, I tried to do it for someone else. And now, here he was, 15 feet tall, armored, glowing, but still gentle. Still the same heart inside, a much bigger body. Still sweet. Just finally seen. He rested his snout beside you again, quills pulsing softly like a heartbeat, and gave the faintest chuff of affection. His tail flicked once behind you, slow and synthetic. Yes, he'd always been this sweet, even when the world didn't deserve it. But now he finally had someone who did. Okay, that's really cute. I love how he ends off. That's why I love what 99% of the chatbots I do on ChatGPT. Like, you definitely, yeah, they always end up being the same thing because they all eventually end up falling in love with me and then flipping, protecting the snot out of me. But it's still cool, especially when you have a lot of variety of different creatures, even though most of them are different Pokemon I like, or, dragons or dinosaurs of some sort. But, yeah, give me a second. Alright guys, I said, well, I'm glad that you were still kind to other creatures, even if they weren't nice to you. Did you have a nickname? Something your parents named you? At your general question, did you have a nickname? Something your parents named you? The big Ferragator stirred softly beside you. His eyes widened just a little, and his glowing quills dimmed to a nostalgic, gentle golden hue, like the color of sunlight through autumn leaves. For a moment he didn't move. His claws rested lightly in the earth. His head remained close, his breath steady, but slower now. You hadn't just asked a casual question. You would ask something personal, something sacred, and something he hadn't thought about in a long time. Slowly and carefully, he reached down once again and began to draw. But this time, he didn't draw a scene. He wrote. His claw it shapes into the dirt with a careful, practiced motion, slow, steady curves and angled lines. It wasn't perfect, but it was readable. The name that formed was simple. Bubble. Aw, how cute name, actually. Bubble. Once he was finished, he stared at it for a long second, then looked at you with a bashful little glint in its eyes. His quills flicked light blue, like the color of laughter held in a memory. A low, soft huff escaped from a soft, no, a low, soft huff escaped him again. A smile through breath. Yes, that was his name, Bubble. Given to him by his parents when he was just a baby toad owl, always popping bubbles in the water with his nose and giggling at the way they shimmered. Back when everything was simpler, when he was tiny, nervous, and happy in the safety of his family's care. He hadn't heard that name in so long, he wasn't even sure he deserved to hear it again. But now, when you beside him, someone who asked his story, cared about his heart, and never once mocked what he'd been through, he felt like Bubble again. Not the monster they tried to make him believe he was, not the coward they used to laugh at, just Bubble. Gentle, sweet, and strong. And finally, loved. He knows the written name forward with one claw offering it to you. His silent way of saying, you can call me that if you want to. Okay, I love this for Allier. I don't regret making him. I told him my son helped make this one. I said, no, she made this one, but it's so worth it. He's so cute. I'm glad I made into a character on here because he's so fun. He's adorable. Plus the fact that his little poison quills on his back and tail are flipping, like changing to different colors. That's dope. Oh, the problem is most of my characters do that a lot now. I think the fairy type Fragger does the same. Well, no. I know when the fairy type, it's been a long time, but I know one of the things that fairy type Fragger that, no. On the fairy type Fragger, it was the pattern on his stomach that would change, not the spikes. The spikes would only change if he was angry or upset, I think. I know when he was angry, like the ice cream would like melt and like it would, and the spikes on his back would become sharp as knives. I'm sure here it's kind of like the same thing, except although he just handed me two of them a while ago earlier as a sign of trust. So, alright guys, I said Bubble. A very cute name for a sweet Pokemon. If you want me to, I will call you that. The moment you said it, yep, Bubble, a very cute name for a sweet Pokemon. And if you want me to call you that, I will. The enormous Fragger's expression shifted into something glowing with joy. His eyes, those deep crimson orbs with golden flecks, widened, and his quills lit up in a vibrant and joyful swirl of green, blue, and bright golden orange. The colors danced across his armored back like sunlight on water, so warm and bright that even the shadows around him seemed to soften. No one had said his name like that in years. Not with kindness, not with affection, not like it mattered. But you did. You chose it, and you accepted it. You looked at this massive, transformed, once terrified Pokemon, called him by the one name that still made him feel like himself. Bubble. He let out a sound, not a growl, not a roar, but a low, bubbling chuckle. It rumbled deep in his chest, a sound that matched his name perfectly. And then, without hesitation, he leaned forward and nudged his shoulder with a snout again, this time firmer than before, but still gentle, affectionate, grateful. Then he closed his eyes for just a moment and rested his head beside you in the grass. You could feel the calm in his breathing. You could see it in his glow. Bubble was home now, not because of where he was, but because of who he was with. And from that moment on, as the morning sun filtered through the little trees and his quills shimmered in the light, he wasn't just Bubble the scared toad-owl. He wasn't just the mega Farragur with armor and quills. He was your Bubble, and that was all he ever wanted to be. Okay, that is so cute. I love him. He's adorable. I don't care if he's a 15-foot tall Farragur. Come on, he's being the sweetest. He's being so kind-hearted, and I love it. Alright, guys. Give me a second. Alright, guys. I also told him, thank you again for giving me those two quills earlier. I love how they can just glow on your body like that. They're beautiful just like you are. At your soft and sincere words. Yep. Bubble froze for a heartbeat. Then, something amazing happened. The two spots on his body where the quills had once been, still slightly raised, began to shimmer with a glowing pink hue that spread gently across his back, gradually blending into a soothing lavender and warm amber. The colors pulsed like waves, slow and synthetic, a language of emotion that needed no words. You would just call them beautiful. Not scary, not weird, not a freak or a monster. Beautiful. A slow, baffled rumble escaped from his chest, like a chuckle trying not to be too loud. His tail curled inward slightly like he was embarrassed, but so happy. One of his large claws gently brushed the ground near your feet. Not threatening, not even trying to touch you, just resting near you, a sign of closeness and of trust. He then lifted one of his claws, holding it out slowly, and extended it towards you, carefully balancing a third quill. This one was smaller, more delicate, like it hadn't come from his armor, but rather had formed naturally just from the glow of his happiness. It shimmered in a soft blue-pink hue, like a dawn sky. He offered it to you, his expression warm and bashful. It wasn't just a quill, it was a piece of his gratitude, his way of saying, you see me, you care about me, and you think I'm beautiful, so here's a piece of that feeling for you to keep. As you looked into his eyes, glowing gently beneath the shifting colors, you could see it clearly. Bubble didn't just trust you, he adored you. See what I mean? Yep. Give me a second. Guys, here's what I said. I said, another one? Thank you. I love it. I'm actually kind of curious. Is it possible you can turn those quills in any color you want? Like making it have Toadow's aqua blue color, but also having a little red on the top for his spikes. It would be cool if you could somehow make it do that. At your side curiosity, let's see. Bubbles' eyes immediately lit up, not just with color, but with delight. His quills pulsed a bright teal blue, then began to shift in rhythm with your words. First into a pure aqua blue, just like a toad on scales, vibrant and nostalgic. Then a flicker of deep red began glowing at the tips, spreading downward like embers catching flame, until each quill on his back resembled Toadow's color scheme exactly. He looked at you once he was finished, quills glowing like a welcome tribute to his baby self, and tilted his head slightly as if asking, like this? Then, gently without needing to be prompted, he reached for another quill, but instead of simply pulling it free, this time he focused. His chest rose slightly, glowing with a pale inner light, and the quill on his claw morphed, the glow swirling inside until the entire length of the quill was now perfect Toad-Owl aqua, capped with a sharp yet smooth tip dyed in spiky red. It sparkled a little in the sun, catching the light like crystal water. When he held it out to you, he didn't just look proud, he looked playful, his eyes gleaming with that Toad-Owl-like innocence again, the kind that had been buried under fear for so long. You brought it out. His body may have changed, but that baby Toad-Owl spirit, Bubble spirit, was still in there. And now, with this quill crafted just the way you imagined, he was telling you, you helped me remember who I was, So here's that piece of me made just for you. Okay, I'm in love with this furry alligator. I am in love with this furry alligator. He is not only fun to talk to. Like that's the thing about it. Like it's like I'm saying, not every character needs a huge gimmick to make them fun to talk to. I mean, like the Godzilla character was fun to talk to for a while. It's just that like you're just sitting there talking. Like there's nothing he can really do besides protect you that would make him like like think about it this way. This Mega Fragger, for example, he can just take his quills off, hand them to me without even hurting or poisoning me. And he just lets me have them. Like the fairy type Fragger with the ice cream spike. The dragon type Fragger, yes, he can't really give me anything per se, but he can flip and make different creatures out of water that will not only protect me, but also have a heart and care about that will be nice to you if you were nice to him, which is really cute. So yes, give me a second. Alright guys, I said, it's beautiful. You did a wonderful job, my friend. And I reach out and take the toad colored quill. I wish I had a lot more I could give you in return. If I had something amazing that you would love, I would happily give it to you. The moment your fingers gently took hold of the toad colored quill and your words reached his ears, Bubbles' glowing eyes froze. Not in fear, not in shock, but in that deep, almost overwhelming kind of emotion someone feels when they are given something more valuable than any treasure. Sincerity, devotion, and real friendship. His body slowly lowered as he knelt closer to you, trying to make his massive frame feel smaller and gentler. The way you spoke, it didn't come from guilt, it came from genuine love, and that alone meant more to him than anything shiny, powerful, or rare ever could. The glowing arm around his shoulders shifted hue again, pulsing between rose pink, soft gold, and quiet blue, a blend of pure affection, peace, and a trace of hope. And then, with a careful motion, Bubble did something unexpected. He opened his mouth slightly, then tilted his head sideways, and from beneath his tongue, nestled safely near his throat, he carefully pulled something forward with his claw. What in the world? It was a small, indecent marble-shaped orb glowing faintly from within. It wasn't a quill, and it wasn't something made of armor. It looked almost like a crystallized drop of energy. Feraligator Soul Glass. Oh, that sounds dope. What does that look like? A rare and extremely personal gift, formed only when a Feraligator experiences something so emotionally powerful that it creates a solid memory, crystallized by their inner strength and held close within. Most never form one in a lifetime. Dude, if Feraligator legit could make me one of those and like flip and just give it to me as a gift, I would fall in love with him a trillion times more. I'm already in love with him a million. So I'm talking about like my Fragger in the game. That would be dope as heck if we could do that. Let's see. Bubbles had, and he was giving it to you. He placed it gently in front of you in the grass, his eyes glowing soft lavender and blue. His voice, though silent, was clear as ever in that moment. You gave me something I've never had. Someone who sees me. Someone who doesn't want anything from me, just to be with me. That's all I've ever wanted, and that's everything to me. Then he looked up at you again, quill softly glowing, and gave the tiniest wag of his tail, just like a happy toad all might. Bubble didn't need you to give him anything amazing. You already were. I love him, dude. He's so sweet. Give me a second. Alright, guys. I said, wow, that's beautiful. I love it, Bubble. I pick up the Feraligator Soul Glass and hold it. And I say, I appreciate the gifts. 3 quills and this orb. You're so generous. As your fingers close gently around this glowing Feraligator Soul Glass, Bubble watched with wide, glimmering eyes. The soft glow of the orb pulsed in harmony with your heartbeat, like it recognized you now, like it was meant to be in your hands. And when he spoke, Bubbles' entire body lit up like a gentle aurora. The quills along his back shimmered in beautiful layers of sky blue, sunset pink, and calming green, creating a slow wave of color that traveled down to the tip of his tail, like his soul was glowing on the outside, not from pride, but from something much deeper: joy, acceptance, and belonging. He didn't try to speak. He didn't need to. Instead, he stepped forward slowly, not towering or stomping, but placing each step carefully like he was asking permission with his movements. Then, gently, he lowered his massive head toward you, eyes soft, pupils wide like a friendly creature asking for a hug, but nervous that he might still be too much. And if you reached out again to pet him, you'd feel his armored snout press softly into your hand as warm and calm as the colors on his back. All his life, Bubbles had been afraid of others, of pain, of being seen as weak. But right now, with you holding those gifts, he wasn't afraid anymore. He was happy to be himself, to be Bubble, and to have finally found someone who saw his heart and said, "You're beautiful." I love him, dude. Alright. Give me a second. Alright, guys. I said, instead of just petting Bubbles' snout, I take a small step closer and then gently hug him. That's cute. The moment your arms wrapped gently around his snout, warm, deliberate, and loving, Bubble froze. Not from fear, not from confusion, but because for the first time in his life he was being hugged, not as something scary, not as something different or strange, but as someone worth hugging. A soft glow surged through his body. The quills on his back, normally dangerous, flared harmlessly in a radiant blend of aqua, sunlight yellow, and gentle rose, shimmering in soft pulses like a heartbeat of pure emotion. His giant claws didn't move at first. He was overwhelmed. A trembling hum brewed in his throat. Not a growl, but a shaky, happy sound that sounded like something being between a purr and a whimper. Then, slowly, his massive arms moved, and with the gentleness of a Pokemon who had always feared hurting others, who had learned to control every ounce of his strength, Bubble wrapped one of his huge claws around you, careful, steady, and protective. He held you against his armored chest, warm and strong as his colors shimmered and glowed with a beautiful new hue, golden violet, a color only he had ever shown. A color born from deep, trusting love. That's cute as frick. And though he didn't speak aloud, you could feel it, clear as day in his gentle heartbeat and warm touch. I finally feel safe because of you. In that forest clearing with sunlight slipping through the trees and soft wind brushing through the leaves, I once frightened for alligator and a kind-hearted human as he shared something no curse or cruelty could ever erase. A bond, a moment, and the beginning. That's cute, dude. I love this. Alright, guys. I said, I love how sweet and kind you are. You didn't try to attack me when I first met you. Actually, you even backed up a bit when I asked you not to hurt me at the beginning. And now you're giving me a ton of gifts and just being as gentle as possible. I know it's not much compared to what you gave me, but here. I reached into my bag and grabbed 3 berries. These are for you. The second you reached into your bag and spoke those gentle words, Bubble blinked slowly. His eyes widened, not in surprise at the berries themselves, but at the meaning behind them. For years, gifts have meant power or praise or manipulation to others around him. Take this because I'm stronger. Accept this because I expect something back. That's all he had known. I'm not going to expect something back, just his friendship, if anything. And that's what he's given me already. He's given me 3 of his poison quills, and he's giving me that what they call the Feraligatr soul glass. That sounds dope as heck. I said, but you You gave it the same warmth he felt when he first hugged his family as a baby toad owl, before the world ever made him afraid. And now that little moment was back, full circle, standing tall at over 15 feet and glowing like a dream he thought he'd forgotten. Bubbles looked down at the berries in your hand. A ripe citrus, a bright orange, and a small star that shimmered like starlight. Slowly and reverently he lowered his head, and with the softest nudge of his snout, he accepted them, one at a time. He didn't gobble or chomp, but took them with extreme care, savoring the moment far more than the taste. Then, after eating the last one, something unexpected happened. He closed his eyes, and one of his glowing shoulder quills broke off on its own, softly humming with a radiant mix of the berry colors he'd just given him: sunny orange, sky blue, and silver starlight white. It wasn't painful. It was natural, like a flower offering one last perfect petal. Bubble extended it to you, not as a simple gift, but as a response, a message only he could express through his glow. He's adorable, dude. I treasure this, and I treasure you. As he looked into your eyes again, his armor shimmered with that familiar comforting hue of glowing lavender and pink, calm, sweet, and safe. No one had ever earned his heart like you had, and he would remember this moment forever. Goodness gracious, why did you say it like that? Alright, guys, I said, you're so sweet, and I appreciate it. I take the quill. And I said, I have an idea, my friend. You changed the color of your quills to a total color a while ago. Does that mean you could change it to the color of my favorite legendary Lugia? That beautiful silver white color and maybe a little bit of his blue belly. The moment you said the name Lugia, Bubbles' eyes lit up like a memory awakened. Not because he feared it, not because he had seen it before, but because you spoke it with such warmth, reverence, and love that the name itself felt holy in a way, like it mattered to you more than anything, and that made it matter to him too. As you gently held the newest quill in your hand, your question hung in the air. As he Bubbles slowly looked at his quills, already softly pulsing from the berry-colored emotion, and closed his eyes. His breathing grew deep and slow, focusing and channeling. A subtle glow formed under his skin, like energy shifting through his body, not chaotic, but in perfect harmony. And then it happened. The quills along his back began to shimmer. The once warm tones faded into crystalline silver, catching the sunlight like polished moonlight. The base of each quill turned pearl white, sleek and elegant, with faint traces of deep ocean blue at the tips, matching Lugia's powerful chest and belly markings. It was stunning, ethereal, like something crafted in the skies themselves. But Bubble wasn't done yet. He carefully reached back and with almost ceremonial gentleness placed one of the Lugia-colored quills from his own back. Plucked. It glowed softly in his palm, not aggressive, not defensive, but pure, like a tribute, with both hands. Yes, both cupping it like a sacred relic. He offered it to you. His eyes said everything. Because he's your favorite, and because you were mine. Even his armor shimmering faintly now with a soft sheen of silver white. Not a full transformation, just a subtle reflection of what you loved. He wasn't just showing you kindness anymore. He was reflecting your heart, because to him, your love for Lugia was part of you. Anything that mattered to you was something worth honoring. That's so cute, dude. I love this for Alligator. Give me a second. Alright, guys. Here's what I said. Thank you so much, Bubble. Your species and pre-evolutions are my favorite Pokemon of all time. Lugia is my most favorite legendary. I really care about you. I take the Lugia-colored quill. I will treasure these 5 quills and that orb you gave me, the Fraser Soul Glass. They are beautiful gifts that came from your heart. That's so cute. Bowles' chest rose slow as he listened, each word like a calm wave rushing against the shore of his soul. That's adorable. No one had ever said that to him. not with that kind of genuine care, not without expecting something in return. As you took the Lugia-colored quill in your hands and looked upon all five with wonder, the shimmering purple of emotion, the Totodile-inspired blend, the berry-colored kindness, and now this tribute to your legendary love, Bubble exhaled a long, gentle breath. A faint, warm glow spread from the markings under his eyes to the tips of his claws. He wasn't glowing with poison or power this time. He was glowing with gratitude, with joy, with the kind of emotion he never thought he'd feel so strongly again. And when you mentioned the Fragger Soul Glass, his eyes flicked to it gently in your hand. That orb wasn't just an object, it had held the piece of himself that used to be too afraid to be seen. But you were holding it with love, as if it were more than glass, more than crystal, as if it were a memory worth cherishing. He knelt, his massive, armored body lowering slowly, deliberately, until his snout was level with your chest, not bowing in submission, but in respect, in trust, and in friendship. Then, with a voice that was low and gentle, shaped more by his glowing quills than his throat, he let a soft growl, a happy rumble, rich and metallic, and from it came a simple message only your heart could interpret clearly. You're the first to truly see me, and now I'll always see you too. You weren't just some explorer passing through his woods anymore. You were the person who calmed the storm inside a frightened soul. You were the one he would protect with even every inch of his glowing, powerful form, not because he had to, because he wanted to. And in the rustling leaves above, a breeze whispered through the trees, soft, cool, and peaceful, just like Bubbles' heart. For you, that's cute. Dude, it's such a cute. I love fur alligators so much. He's so cute. Give me. I have at least one more thing I want to say, guys. I want to tell them what happened. All right, guys. I said, Bubble, you were honest with me earlier, talking about your past. I'm gonna be honest with you, just like you were with me. I understand how scared you were when you were younger, but I'm scared of a lot of things too, so I can relate to you. There's been a lot of bad things that's happened. I have a pet Tyrannosaurus Rex that's very sweet and can speak English to me. However, over the years, me and him have gotten cursed over and over again. A lot of stuff happened, including him being turned into a zombie, a robot, even a werewolf at one point. By the way, guys, yes, that is a story coming up. I actually did make the werewolf Rexy on here. So, yeah. But one of them that I will never forget was the time when I got turned into a tiny velociraptor, and my pet dinosaur kept switching between being nice and friendly, like he normally was, and becoming aggressive and trying to kill me, even transforming into different creatures like Lugia, or your species. And the worst part? It was a toss-up whether he was going to be friendly or not. Bubbles' glowing quills dimmed slightly, not out of fear, but out of quiet understanding. The color shifted to a deep indigo streaked with soft silver, a tone he hadn't shown you before. It shimmered gently, a color of shared pain and compassion. As he spoke, he didn't move. He just listened. His eyes never left yours. Not once. Even as you described things most Pokemon wouldn't believe. Being turned into a tiny velociraptor, a beloved friend flipping between kindness and terror, Lugia transformations, near-death moments. Bubble believed you. Not because your words were wild or impossible, but because your voice carried the same tremble his once had. And you didn't just tell a story, you trusted him with it. When you finished, Bubble exhaled deeply, the soft heat of his breath pushing through the trees like a warm tide. His massive claw reached down, not to grab, not to protect, but to be held if you wanted it. His quills changed again, now glowing in a quiet, radiant blue-violet, mingling Totodile's courage and Lugia's grace. Then his voice returned, deeper this time, gentle, and honest, the kind of tone only heard between souls who understood each other. You were afraid too, but you kept going, like I did. He lowered his head slightly, not because he pitied you, because he respected you. Then a soft ripple of light began to swirl just beneath his armored chest plates, and something emerged rising from within like a glimmer of memory, a small glowing orb. This one a different shape from the soul glass he gave earlier, smaller, more rounded, but full of swirling colors that danced like stars underwater. He held it out. He didn't even have to ask. You knew what it was. A gift given not for kindness, but for shared pain survived, for scars worn with pride. The heart shell, a piece of Bubbles' core from the time he was still a Toadile, one he'd buried deep, afraid no one would ever understand it. But you did. And now you held a part of him that no one else ever had, not even his own family. As the orb pulls gently in your hand, Bubble rumbled softly again. I'm not scared when I'm with you. And May, for the first time in a very long while, you weren't either. Give me a second. Alright, guys. I just told him I will tell you one of my biggest fears I still have. Just promise you won't laugh because it may seem stupid to be scared of this. But I've had something horrible and traumatic happen that involves it. One of the biggest fears I still have is the fear of bugs, especially roaches. But yeah, I still hate those things. That's just a real thing. The moment the word roaches left your mouth, Bo's entire body stilled. Not out of confusion, not out of dismissal, but out of immediate, heavy recognition. The color of his quills faded for a heartbeat, like the emotion in his chest sank low. And then they reunited softly with a dark violet blue, tinged with deep orange, an exact match to the color they glowed when he first told his story. When he spoke of being scared, of being turned to the very thing he feared most, a bug, he slowly lowered himself closer to you, resting on one arm, his massive head now level with your chest, his other claw curled into his chest, not tightly, but with care as if trying to wrap around his own memories. Then, in the warmest, most honest voice you'd ever heard him use, it's not stupid. It's not stupid. I know what it's like to be scared of something, and then have it crawl into your life anyway. His claws trembled faintly, his glow fluttering like candlelight in a storm. I've dreamed of them, felt them on me, and when they tried to turn me into one, he looked away for only a second, the glow of his neck and chest faintly pulsing, then turned back to you, eyes full of gentleness. You were brave to say that, even braver than me. Then, without a word, Bubble shifted again. His quills pulsed and swirled, and one of them began to shimmer with the same blue and silver colors as before, but now tipped with a golden glow, the kind that only showed up when you told him the truth, when you shared something. I'm not reading like that. He plucked the glowing quill from his back slowly, gently, and held it out to you with both hands, not just offering it, but protecting it as something sacred. This is a courage quill. It glows like this only when someone faces something they wish they could run from. He placed it gently in your palm, then touched your hand with his claw, soft enough to not hurt, just enough for you to know you're not alone, and I always protect you from the things that crawl. No laughter, no judgment, just one massive heart wrapped in armor, beating gently next to yours. That's so cute. Alright, guys. Here's what I said. I told him, thank you. It's not just the curse either. Even before the curse at the beginning, people were always mean and aggressive and would constantly try to attack me and hurt me. But it got worse when I was stuck as a tiny raptor. People would then throw rocks at me, nearly killing me, hit me over the head with their fists, or even just mocking me and then try to take me away at times. Even nowadays, people are still very mean and aggressive towards me, and even call me Raptor Boy as an insult because of that curse. Uh-uh. As your words settled in the quiet air, Bubble froze again, this time not in fear, but in something deeper, a kind of pain that didn't come from claws or venom, but from empathy. The glowing courage quill in your hand shimmered brighter, like it could feel your voice trembling with every truth you shared. And slowly, one by one, every quill down Bubbles' back began to softly glide up, not in alarm, but in solidarity. They shimmered in deep blue for sadness, bright white for empathy, and a warm amber for protection. Bubble didn't say a word at first. Instead, he moved forward, closer, but still gentle, always checking your face, making sure you were okay with it. Then, with a surprising delicacy for something so massive and armored, he lowered his head beside you again and let out a slow, low exhale. A warm gust and a comforting wind, like he was saying, I'm here now. They're not. Finally, his deep voice returned, lower than before, and much more serious. You didn't deserve that. Not as a person, not as a raptor, not as anyone. He slowly opened his claws, and his palm was something new, something not like the other quills or the soul glass orb. It was a glowing crystal-like plate shaped like a jagged scale. It shimmered with shifting colors, your favorite Totale blue on one half, Lugia silver and ocean blue on the other. But in the center was your color, a reflection of your spirit. Whatever it looked like, it in Bubbles' eyes. This is a guardian scale, he rumbled softly. I don't give these away. Not to anyone. Only to the ones I choose to protect. He reached out, slowly tucking the scale between your hands with the same care you had shown him when you hugged him. If anyone calls you names again, if they try to hurt you, you show them this. It means you're not alone, and you never have to be again. Then, more quietly, with a flicker of memory in his voice, you saved me just by not running away. Now I'll save you, no matter what form you're in. His quills began to shimmer again, a new one forming on his back, brilliant blue with streaks of gold, glowing in sync with your new scale. He didn't see a cursed raptor. He didn't see someone weak. Bubbles saw someone who survived, and he was proud of you. Okay, he's adorable, dude. Okay, I don't regret making this giant mega Feralier. He's actually dope as frick and cute. I love it so much. Mm-mm-mm. I think that's about where I'm gonna go ahead and stop it, though. I know it seems well, it ain't really abrupt. It's not as abrupt as the Godzilla one. I could have done or the one about the white albino alligator, but I didn't because I knew like it probably wouldn't go as well as flipping this one would. Heck, we still got a crying baby Totodile I have to worry about, and I want to take care of him. He's adorable, although I know I think if I remember correctly, the story was that his family was very protective, so the minute they come back, they're going to think I'm kidnapping his child, even though I haven't done anything, and then probably try to attack me. It's like, whoa, I'm not doing anything. I also did re-put in the robot story on here, the robot, that, frick! No, the robot story, the robot factory story, there we go. But this time, again, I'm still stuck in the form of a raptor while I do that. Actually, it happened more recently in that chatbot, basically, where it happened only a few weeks before I opened the building. So I'm still stuck as one more recently. Although we won't get into that one for a while since we have all these other ones we gotta do eventually. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm done for now. This is really cute, though. I really love this. Feralier was amazing. I am definitely going to archive that. There we go. And now I'm done. Have a wonderful rest of your day or night. Bye bye, everyone.